Hello, Dave Prowse here with the tech question of the day for February 22nd, 2017, and this is on the topic of IP configuration issues. Instead of waiting for a graceful shutdown, a coworker shut off the main Windows server by disconnecting the power, then plugging it back in and restarting it. It appeared to be working fine, but now users on the network complain that they cannot connect to their Z drives. And the path for these mapped network drives is shown here. And after analyzing the server with an IP config/all, you see the following information. Questions: what happened and how can we fix the problem? And I'll leave you a moment to pause the video and come back with the answer in just a bit. Okay, so what happened? Well, we have our computers over here, and now they can't connect to their mapped Z drives. They're all having problems connecting to their Z drives. And Z normally means a mapped network drive to a server. And we see that the path for these mapped network drives from the clients is /192.168.1.201. So that tells us that that most likely is the server IP. This guy is 192.168.1.201, or at least should be. And the clients are connecting to a share on this guy called data, or at least they were in the past. But after analyzing the server with the IP config/all, you see a couple troubling things. One, it says DHCP is enabled. It says yes. And, that's no good because servers will normally use static IP addresses that you configure manually. And most likely, this was the address originally that was configured manually, .201, but now it's getting an address from a DHCP device. We don't know what or where, but it is, and it's getting .101, just happens to be getting .101. And you see this kind of thing all the time. It's like, wow, that's coincidental. No, actually it's not, because it just happens this way sometimes. Perhaps that was the first IP in the IP scope of whatever device is handing out IP addresses. But what happened here is this server is no longer using the static IP 201. It's obtaining the address 101. And so when the clients try to connect, they can't see 201. So they can't connect to their Z drive because the server is now using that 101 address. I've seen this before when a person disconnects the power and actually pulls the plug or turns off the APC and pulls the plug that the server's connected to, the UPS that it's connected to, whatever, however they disconnect the power. What happens is you can get a spike either when pulling the power or when plugging it back in. And either way, it could wipe the configuration of the network adapter. I've seen this happen. And there's a couple ways to fix this. The best way is to go into the GUI and change the IP address and, go back in and say, no, we don't want it to obtain IP automatically. Get rid of that. We want to set it manually to 201 once again. And we do that in the IP configuration sheet. We could also do this with the netsh command if we wanted to. So either do it in the GUI or with the netsh command to make sure that we have a manually configured static IP, the IP that it's supposed to be. And once we do that, then the clients can all connect again with no problem to the server. And to prevent the problem in the future, a couple things we can do. One, we could put a lock on the server room door and make sure that nobody could get into that server. We can also, put some cable locks on so it actually can't be disconnected power-wise. And, make sure we know who has access to the server room. So, some things we could do to prevent that in the future. But I have seen this happen where a spike or surge has caused a configuration issue. Now, if there was a spike or surge that went through the server and cause that issue with the network adapter, there might be other issues as well. So you want to check the event viewer and all that and make sure that, everything is working properly. And then look at your data and, see if there's any problems there as well. Do some data checks. But that's basically it. It's a pretty simple problem. It's just that the server is getting an address automatically. It's obtaining an IP automatically from something on the network, possibly some type of Soho router over here or some other server, maybe a DHCP server that's down here that hands out the IP addresses to the clients. But your server normally should have a static IP. That's any servers that you have should have static IPs because people often connect in this manner. They connect with a mapped network drive like this to that IP address. If the IP changes, nobody can connect to the share. So that should answer the question for the tech question of the day. And I'm Dave Prowse. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me at my website, www.davidlprowse.com.